What if some of the most groundbreaking music from past eras has been quietly forgotten, yet its influence is, all around us?
Yeah, or maybe even more intriguing, what if the very way we think about music, how we categorize it, is fundamentally changing right now?
Today, we're taking a deep dive into uncovering those, often overlooked musical styles and trailblazing bands, the ones that truly shaped what we hear today.
Exactly. And we'll also explore the bigger question. Why do musical genres rise, fall, sometimes just disappear? And do they even matter anymore in our current musical landscape?
We've got a really fascinating stack of sources for this deep dive YouTube analyses on specific bands, historical accounts of why styles vanish, and some really thought-provoking stuff about the death of genres.
Our mission here is to pull out the most important bits, the key nuggets, to give you a shortcut to being well-informed.
So get ready for some surprising facts, unexpected connections, maybe a few aha moments that could change how you think about your own playlist. Okay, let's jump right in. The allure of the underappreciated. It's easy to look back in the 60s and think Beatles, Stones, the Giants.
Right. But our sources show that some of the era's most innovative bands, they never quite got their full due, often just because they were ahead of their time.
Yeah, way ahead.
Absolutely. And these groups, even if they weren't huge mainstream stars, they left this profound, almost invisible influence. Their musical DNA, you could say, it's woven into so much that came later.
It's compelling how real innovation often happens quietly, doesn't it? Laying groundwork before everyone else catches on.
Exactly.
Okay, like the Zombies, British Invasion Band, maybe known for a couple of hits here in the States.
Sure, time of the season, she's not there.
Right. But their album, Odyssey and Oracle, wow, a Baroque pop masterpiece. They weren't just doing blues and R&B covers.
No, they were drawing from jazz, from classical music. That made them remarkably unique for the time.
So Odyssey and Oracle had, what, harpsichords? Mellotrons?
Yeah, and Rod Argent's really jazz-influenced organ work, supporting these incredibly lush vocal harmonies. The insight here is how that blend, so different from typical rock, actually opened doors.
For who? Like later bands?
For ambitious pop conceptualists, for progressive rockers. It showed that pop music could be really sophisticated,
Okay, and then there was Love, fronted by Arthur Lee, an African-American singer, which was significant then, too.
Definitely. And their 67 album, Forever Changes. It fused rock, that gritty feel, with orchestral stuff and psychedelic experiments. It just sounded light years ahead.
Light years ahead. I like that description.
They were pivotal, really. Love kind of bridged the gap between rock's harder blues side and its more poetic folk side.
So raw emotion, but also complex arrangements.
Exactly. And you can hear their influence on later visionaries, like Neutral Milk Hotel. It proved a band could be both visceral and artful. They reshaped the language.
And the pretty things. The sources say they deserve way more credit for SF Sorrow, 1968.
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just songs. It was one of the very first narrative concept albums in rock. A rock opera, basically.
Before Tommy.
Yeah, before Tommy. It was this incredibly ambitious project, told a whole melancholy story about war, innocence lost, across 13 tracks.
Tied together.
With musical motifs, lyrical themes recurring. The crucial thing is, without pioneering works like SF Sorrow, maybe albums like Tommy or Pink Floyd's The Wall wouldn't have had that path cleared for them.
It proved the album could be like a novel.
Exactly. A rock novel.
Okay, shifting gears a bit. Question Mark and the Mysterians. Accidental proto-punks from Michigan.
Yeah!
That sounds fun.
They exploded in '66 with 96 Tears, that gritty Vox Continental organ sound.
Instantly recognizable.
Yeah, and the swaggering rhythm, Question Mark's kind of loudmouthed punk attitude, it captured teenage frustration years before the Ramones or the Sex Pistols.
So they were punk before punk.
In a way, yeah. It shows how that raw, unpolished energy can just revolutionize a scene. They basically laid down the blueprint for the American underground, for bands like the Stooges, MC5.
Okay, one more from this era, big star. Alex Chilton, Chris Bell.
Ah, big star. They mined that sort of Anglo power pop sound, but matched it with this gritty Memphis soul feel. Think Beatles melodies meet Southern soul.
But overlooked.
Tragically overlooked in their time, but their albums, songs like In the Street, the theme from that 70s show. That belatedly got massive underground love. Their story really shows how quality and influence can last, even if big commercial success doesn't happen right away. They influenced generations of indie and alternative rock.
Okay, so we've seen these amazing, often underappreciated innovators from the 60s. Let's rewind even further. Way back.
Okay.
to a distinctly American sound that really set the stage for so much modern music. Ragtime.
Ah, ragtime. Yeah, piano-based, super popular, late 19th, early 20th century. Right here in the USA, the name itself, ragged music, points to its key feature, syncopation.
Syncopation.
Right, that offbeat rhythm. You've got a steady beat in the left hand on the piano, but the right hand is playing these crazy, ragged, syncopated melodies over it.
Harmonically simple, though.
Fairly simple, yeah. Lots of tonic, subdominant, dominant chords, the basic 1-4-5 chords you find in tons of popular music.
What's interesting is, unlike early jazz, it wasn't really improvised, was it?
Not usually. It was often written down, meant to be played exactly as notated, more like classical music in that sense. And it was often really difficult to play.
Machine-like precision.
Yeah, the sources mention machine-like precision, big jumps, octaves, tricky stuff. Missouri was the hub, especially Sedalia and St. Louis. Pianists could actually make a decent living playing in bars and clubs there.
And the influences were pretty diverse, right?
Oh, yeah. A real mix. African-American banjo rhythms, syncopated dance beats like the cakewalk, but also European melodies, fiddle tunes like Irish and British jigs.
And this is before widespread recording.
Mostly, yeah. So it spread mainly through sheet music. That's how it got into homes all across America. A transient genre in that way.
And the main guy, the name everyone knows, is Scott Joplin.
The king of ragtime, absolutely. An African-American composer and pianist, born 1867, worked on the railway, then became a musician, teacher, published his music in Missouri.
And Maple Leaf Rag was the big one.
1999, named after a club he played at, it became the quintessential ragtime piece, hugely famous.
But he tried to do other things.
Yeah, he spent the rest of his life trying to break out of the ragtime box, composing operas, believe it or not. But he never found that same success again. He died in 1917, which kind of marks the end of the main ragtime era.
But initially, people didn't like it, called it musical poison.
Oh yeah, harsh criticism, capable of arousing suspicions of sanity in young people. It's that classic reaction to new, exciting music, isn't it?
Always happens.
It fell out of fashion around 1920, jazz kind of took over, but the compelling part is how it came back.
The 70s revival?
Exactly. Joshua Rifkin's album treated it with classical respect, and then the movie The Sting in 74.
Made The Entertainer huge.
A household name decades after Joplin wrote it. It just shows that cyclical nature, how art needs time to be understood, how something condemned can become a classic.
Okay, from intricate piano in clubs. Let's move to voices on street corners. Raw power. Doo-Wop.
Ah, Doo-Wop. Grew up in African-American neighborhoods, New York, Philly, Chicago, LA in the 40s, then just exploded in the 50s.
As kids singing.
Often young, broke black men and women. They'd gather on street corners, subway tunnels, locker rooms. Because of segregation in the 50s, expensive instruments weren't really an option for many.
So their voices were the instruments.
Exactly. They borrowed from gospel, jazz, barbershop spirituals, layering voices in close harmony, inventing those nonsense syllables, boom, do out of fill space, create rhythm.
The early sound was slower.
Often slow, sad, kind of jazzy. Maybe aimed at an older audience originally, but the youth really grabbed onto it. Minimal instruments, all about those rich vocal harmonies, usually romantic themes.
And then it crossed over.
Mid-50s, yeah. Found a white audience, teenagers loved it, got faster, more energetic. Bands started wearing matching uniforms, you know the look.
And the bird bands.
Right. The Ravens, the Penguins, the Orioles, the Flamingos, the Crows. Even the OJs later on.
So a pivotal genre.
Truly pivotal. It basically crystallized the formula for the modern pop song, shifted the focus to vocal groups away from the solo singers of the jazz age.
And it influenced
surf rock, R&B, soul, and yeah, definitely rock and roll. The Mills Brothers were huge early on, mimicking instruments with their voices. Sonny Till and the Orioles hit national fame.
Sonny Till, the world's first rock star.
Some accounts describe him that way, girls throwing underwear on stage, that kind of thing, early days.
And then you had integrated groups breaking barriers.
Like the Del Vikings, their hit Come Go With Me. Apparently that's the song John Lennon played for Paul McCartney when they first met.
Wow, really?
Yeah, and mixed gender groups like the Platters, Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, huge hits. But there's a darker side to this story.
The exploitation.
Yeah, many of these groups were just teenagers. They signed contracts, really naive, that basically stripped them of ownership of their own music.
Labels erasing their names.
Sometimes, yeah. Marketing the sound, but not the artists. Sometimes they couldn't even afford to buy their own records. The industry often sanitized the sound, too.
How so?
Pushed out the raw edges, replaced vocal imperfections with slick backing tracks, and worse, sometimes whitewashing, swapping out black artists for white performers, lip-syncing to the original tracks.
That's awful.
It really is. So that exploitation, plus the British invasion coming in the early 60s?
Changed everything.
Yeah, and big social shifts, like JFK's assassination kind of marking an end of innocence for that audience, and just the general move towards louder rock and roll. It all pushed Doo-Wop out of the mainstream.
But its influence lived on.
Definitely. If you connect it to the bigger picture, Doo-Wop's story isn't just about music changing. It's about racial barriers, exploitation, cultural appropriation in the industry.
How authentic art gets overlooked or ripped off.
Exactly. But its soul, its influence persists. It didn't die, it just kind of went underground. You hear it in Motown's emotion, in R&B's vocal layers. Hip-hop sampled its hooks decades later.
And the revival in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah, films like American Graffiti, Stand By Me, Dirty Dancing brought it back. People fell in love with those harmonies all over again.
Okay, speaking of cultural shifts, no genre screams specific era, quite like psychedelic rock. A real revolution, sound, and spirit.
Oh, absolutely. Psychedelic rock surged around 1966, driven by hallucinogens, LSD, marijuana. San Francisco was the epicenter, right? Jefferson Airplane, Grateful Dead, The Doors.
Mind-expanding sounds.
That was the idea. And then you had the Beatles with Steve Peppers, the Beach Boys with Pet Sounds, just resetting expectations. Surreal lyrics, dense harmonies, crazy studio experiments.
And in the UK?
British psychedelia had its own flavor. Pink Floyd, the Yardbirds, mixing in Eastern instruments, odd rhythms, a really fertile period.
But the dream didn't last long, did it?
Yeah.
It unraveled pretty quickly by the early 70s.
Tragically fast. It was a combination of things. A perfect storm, really. One huge blow was the deaths of the stars.
Hendrix, Joplin, Morrison.
All dead at 27 between 1970 and 71. Just ripped the heart out of the movement, losing the musical geniuses, the charismatic leaders.
And the drug culture backlash.
Yeah, that happened fast.
Yeah.
A moral panic set in. LSD went from being a tool for free thought to being demonized. Media played up bad trips. Syd Barrett from Pink Floyd, his breakdown fueled the fear.
And the Manson murders.
Committed by followers high on LSD. That really solidified the fear, linking psychedelic drugs to violence in the public mind. Governments cracked down, criminalized psychedelics, forced it all underground.
Then the music itself got kind of watered down.
Commercialization, oversaturation. By 67, the underground thing was becoming a mainstream product. That diluted the essence for a lot of people. Advertisers grabbed the imagery, the music became secondary.
Compromised its purity.
For the true believers, yeah. And culturally, the hippie movement itself started to fall apart. The Altamont Free Concert in 69, total disaster, ended in violence, a fan killed, shattered that utopian dream. Manson further stained the whole movement, linking freedom with darkness.
And musically, things were changing too.
Big time. Hard rock and heavy metal started rising. Led Zeppelin, Black Sabbath. That raw, intense energy began to overshadow the hazy, introspective vibe of psych rock.
Louder, riff-heavy anthem.
Yeah, capturing young listeners, conquering the outer world instead of exploring inner space, you could say.
And what was left of psych rock kind of morphed
into progressive rock, art rock, early 70s. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, yes. They fused psychedelic elements with complex technical arrangements.
More structured.
Exactly. From freewheeling spontaneity to structure, which felt like a betrayal to some fans, too intellectualized, maybe pretentious.
And then punk came along.
Mid-70s. Punk was just an angry rejection of everything that came before it. Prog rock's grandiosity, psych rock's perceived pretension. Back to basics, DIY, no long jams. Psych rock seemed like a relic.
Plus internal band problems, burnout.
Constant touring, creative exhaustion, drug abuse took a huge toll. Roky Erickson of the 13th Floor Elevators struggled with mental health. The Doors struggled after Morrison died.
And the industry turned away.
Final nail, really. Labels, radio, venues backed off. The drug criminalization stigmatized it. Syd Barrett was like a cautionary tale. Governments cracked down. Venues got raided. Radio avoided acid rock. Labels moved to safer bets, pop, disco, hard rock.
It really makes you ask, how much does a genre's survival depend on the culture around it versus just the music itself?
That's the core question, isn't it? Psychedelic rock seems so deeply tied to a specific cultural moment that just couldn't sustain itself.
And maybe no genre had a more dramatic rise, a more dramatic fall, and a more revealing backlash than disco.
Oh, disco. exploded late 70s. Studio 54, Donna Summer, the Bee Gees dominating everything. Saturday Night Fever in 77 made it a massive craze.
But its roots were deeper, right, in marginalized communities.
Absolutely. Black, Latino, LGBTQ plus communities really embraced it. It was about freedom, acceptance. The dance floor was a sanctuary. Black artists like Donna Summer, Gloria Gaynor became icons. Latin rhythms were woven right in.
And the sound, that steady beat.
That four-on-the-floor beat, yeah. Synthesized bass lines, string sections, often long, hypnotic tracks focused purely on rhythm and groove.
But then the backlash hit. Hard.
Incredibly hostile. Rock fans felt threatened. They saw disco as manufactured, commercialized, lacking rock's authenticity.
Radio DJs fueled it.
Oh yeah, called it repetitive, soulless, shallow. But that anti-disco feeling, it tapped into much deeper anxieties. Systemic racism, homophobia, it got labeled gay music to discredit it. Racial tensions flared. Some saw it as a threat to white dominance in music.
Too free, too different.
Challenged traditional values, yeah. This was a time of big change in America, the sexual revolution. Disco felt too loose for some.
Which led to Disco Demolition Night.
July 12th, 1979. Chicago's Comiskey Park. Radio DJ Steve Dahl organized it. 50,000 people, maybe more, fueled by anger, beer, stormed the field.
Blowing up disco records.
Yeah, hurling them, setting them on fire. It became this huge national news story, a symbol of the backlash, but it also exposed that really ugly undercurrent.
The racism, homophobia, fear of change.
Laid bare. What's fascinating is how a genre's decline can reflect not just taste changes, but those deep societal tensions and prejudices.
But disco didn't really die, did it?
No, it transformed, went underground again, morphed into house music, techno, EDM. Its spirit lived on, influencing Madonna, Prince, Michael Jackson.
It's having a resurgence now.
Totally. A new generation is rediscovering those infectious grooves, that message of inclusivity and freedom. It shows the resilience of a sound.
Okay, we've heard these incredible stories. Rise, fall, transformation. But what are the common threads? What makes a genre fade from the mainstream?
Well, if we connect it all, genres don't just vanish. They follow these cycles, driven by a few key things. But their DNA, it survives and evolves.
Like changing cultural trends.
That's a huge one. Music is tied so closely to fashion, politics, technology. They steer what audiences want. Disco ended fast, partly because of that backlash. Rocksteady softened when reggae took over. Societal values shift. People want different things from lyrics, from artists.
And getting too popular can kill a genre too. Oversaturation.
Definitely. Happens when too many acts just copy the same formula. The market gets tired. Think grunge after Nirvana label signed every band in flannel. Radio, TV were flooded. Fans just burned out.
Dubstep did that too, right? Early 2010s.
Similar pattern. Even streaming can contribute now. Splinters genres into tiny subgenres fighting for attention. Floods of lookalikes can bury the originators.
And technology is always changing the game.
Every leap rewrites the rules. Edison's phonograph brought music into the living room. Tape machines allowed distortion. Edit's key for psych rock, disco. Late 80s sampling and rap. Dr. Dre. Ice Cube turning old records into new hooks.
And now digital tools.
Software like Audacity, FL Studio lets whole genres like Vaporwave bloom, shifts the focus from live playing skills to studio craft, often clears space for new waves as older trends fade.
But the forgotten styles don't truly vanish.
Never fully disappear. They influence modern music constantly. Teach producers new tricks, give artists ideas to sample, blend. Hip-hop borrows disco hooks, indie pop nods to doo-wop harmonies.
Which leads to revivals.
Yeah, within niche subcultures often, like Japanese city pop finding this global audience through YouTube algorithms, or disco coming back via European dance music, artists like The Weeknd.
TikTok can make old songs huge again overnight.
Exactly. Accelerates those revivals, pushes old sounds to new generations instantly. It's this cycle. Nothing truly dies. It just transforms, becomes part of music's ongoing story.
So if genres are always evolving, blending, influencing each other, does the whole idea of genre even mean that much today? Are we moving past it?
That's the big question, isn't it? What is a genre, really? Historically, it was a category, right? Based on similarities in form, style, subject matter.
Classified by techniques, instruments.
Yeah, like blues having that 12-bar form, 1-4-5 chords, hip-hop having the beat, the rapping, the samples. In the 20th century, the music business really solidified genres, mostly for marketing.
To sell specific products.
Right. Labels per specific sounds, radio stations played specific formats, helped listeners find music for a target audience like teenagers buying rock records in the 50s.
But things got blurry.
As music evolved, technology evolved, computers in production, artists like Michael Jackson doing soul, funk, rock, new jack swing all on one album, the lines got way more obscure.
And then the internet just blew it all up.
Napster, iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, they were huge disruptive forces, completely changed how we find and listen to music.
Algorithms taking over.
They rely on algorithmic playlists, global distribution, which kind of gives equal footing to niche artists and tiny micro-genres alongside the superstars.
So no one big dominant genre anymore.
It seems that way. No single must-hear movement often flourishes because listeners follow their own personalized taste, curated by algorithms, rather than the mass consensus shaped by old media like radio or MTV.
Meaning lots of people might not have even heard massive global hits.
It's possible, like The Weeknd's Blinding Lights, maybe some Taylor Swift songs. Taste is so fragmented now.
And pop music itself has changed definition.
Yeah, pop isn't really a specific sound now. It's just whatever music is popular at the moment. Yeah. Modern stars, Taylor Swift, Billie Eilish, Ariana Grande, Post Malone, they defy easy labels.
They blend everything.
Synth pop, electropop, R&B, trap, hip hop. Often all mixed together. Trying to slap a traditional genre label on them feels kind of inaccurate or just too broad.
So we're in a post-genre world.
That's what people are calling it. Artists blend styles openly, boundaries are blurred, genre labels feel, increasingly outdated.
Replaced by what? Moods, vibes.
Pretty much. Mood-based curation, influencer playlists. Streaming sites are already doing it effectively, sorting music by sunny day, reading soundtrack, mood boosters, lo-fi hip-hop for studying.
So what does that mean for you, the listener?
You're essentially your own curator now, building your own personal mini-era, a galaxy of music where your individual taste is king.
Okay, so we've taken quite the journey today. From unsung 60s heroes and forgotten sounds, through the dramatic sagas of ragtime, doo-wop, psychedelic rock, disco.
We've seen how creativity pushes boundaries, how culture shakes sound, how tech constantly redefines everything.
What seems really clear is that music isn't static. It's alive, it breathes.
Exactly. Genres aren't rigid boxes, they're fluid. They evolve, disappear, reappear, but always leave their DNA behind in whatever comes next. They reflect us our anxieties, celebrations, dreams.
So here's a final thought to leave you with. If our current musical world is truly post-genre, all about blending and personal playlists, does that make it easier or actually harder for truly revolutionary, era-defining sounds to emerge and get that collective buy-in, like the ones we talked about today?
Interesting question. What will be the forgotten music of this era, and how will its legacy be discovered years from now? Something to think about.